Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Hack Summit. It's a pleasure to have all of you here with us today. We're going to have a fantastic time over the next 2 days, all learning about blockchain and Web3 programming together. My name is Ed Roman. I'll be your host for the next couple of days, and we've got a jam-packed schedule for you of some of the most thoughtful leaders in Web3 who's going to be educating you on the latest advances on technology in blockchain development. And this is a developer-themed conference, so it's technical in nature. And the speakers are all technical leaders from some of the most promising blockchain projects in the world. So I think we're all going to have a lot of fun here, and we're going to make it interactive for the audience, and it's going to be a great time. The first session of the day is going to be Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, and he'll be speaking in about 20 minutes. But until then, I want to give you a quick overview of Hack Summit, a quick preview of the agenda, also explain this technology we're using, Crowdcast, to you, and how you can interact with it as we do the event. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to give you a brief presentation to introduce Hack Summit to you. So give me 1 second to do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully everyone can see this okay. Hack Summit is a global virtual event for Web3, and it's a technical conference for the blockchain. It's technical, so it targets an engineering audience. So all of the speakers here are technical in nature. A lot of them are CTOs and co-founders of their Web3 projects. It's a no fluff type of conference. So this event is not going to be a business conference about fundraising or kind of making money in Web3, that kind of stuff. It's the nitty-gritty picks and shovels learning about blockchain, which is the nature of this event. And it's a 2-day-long event with 46 incredible speakers. And we are broadcasting live to 157 countries. We have attendees from all over the world, folks who can't necessarily travel to conferences. And part of the vision and the mission of Hack Summit is to address that education worldwide for the attendees. And we've been holding this event ever since 2014 with over 150,000 cumulative attendees to date. And the cool thing about Hack Summit is that this is a mission-driven event. We're supporting great charities. There's 4 charities we're fundraising for at this Hack Summit, including Code.org, which is the Hour of Code initiative, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is helping with civil liberties, Free Code Camp, which is providing education to folks who want to learn about programming, and then Women Who Code, who's helping diversity. Hi, sorry for the delay there, guys. A slight error with Microsoft PowerPoint there. Hopefully everyone can see me again here. So to give you a quick overview of what's happening right now with Crowdcast, Crowdcast is a platform for performing virtual events. And you can see on the right-hand side, there's a number of ways you can interact with this event. For example, on the right, there's a polling section. And I encourage all the audience members to click on the polling section right now and to answer some of those questions on the polls. We have 3 questions right now for the audience to answer. The first one is, what is your favorite programming language? And hopefully we've captured most of the famous ones that you guys like. If there's additional programming languages you'd like us to list, please let us know and we'll list them there. We also have a poll for what kind of Web3 programming experience that you have right now. Have you ever built a dApp before in Web3 or worked on a protocol before, yes or no? And then also, what's your level of blockchain knowledge? And answering these polls are very helpful for us because we can then tailor the content of this event to your needs. And so it looks like we're getting responses in real time here, and there's quite a mix of folks, people who are both beginners, intermediate, and advanced in blockchain programming, which is great to see. You know, it's funny, we held this event a number of years ago, and at that time, very few attendees had actually had any programming experience with Web3 at the time. And so it's really great to see that folks have started to really pick up the technologies. So let me give you an overview of how this compares to a traditional conference, because there's some things that are very different about Hack Summit that you might want to know about. So if you think about a traditional conference, it's typically going to be centralized. It's going to be taking place in a physical location somewhere in the world. You're going to have to travel to go to the conference. Whereas we're a decentralized conference. We are a virtual event that unites 157 countries together. And this is actually a free event. So we're actually not charging anything for this conference. We invite everyone to join for free. And we do ask that if you get value out of this event and if you learn something, that you consider donating to charity, one of the 4 charities that we have listed there. And if you'd like to donate, you can donate on our website, which is hacksummit.org. But it's totally optional. And if you're not in a position to donate, we understand. We're just grateful that you're here for the education. And one thing that I would encourage the audience to do, if you have time over the next 2 days, is to stay for as many sessions as you can, because you know, this is just a really unique opportunity to get education from some of the top thought leaders in Web3 all at one place. It's fairly unprecedented. There's very few times where you can actually get access to this level of knowledge jam-packed into 2 days. And so my commitment to you, audience, is that I will make sure that this is educational and useful and informative for you, so you can walk away with this armed with knowledge to take your career to the next level. The other thing about this event is that, you know, if you have things going on during the day, you can duck in and out if you need to, and learn from the speakers that you really want to learn from. So we really think about this as almost like the blockchain of conferences. You know, a traditional conference is centralized, rent-seeking. We are decentralized, non-rent-seeking, and that's kind of our vision for Hack Summit. So, you know, this event, actually, the first event we ever held was back in 2014, and that was way before there was any kind of you know, large virtual conference initiatives happening. This is before COVID, which really kicked off the virtual conference wave. And back then, you know, the first early attempts at virtual events were kind of hokey. They were, you know, having 3D avatars in a room and you know, trying to mimic a real conference, you know, virtually. And we kind of thought that wasn't like the right attempt at doing this. So we helped incubate Crowdcast, which is the platform that you're using today, to power the next generation of virtual events. And we're now proud that virtual events have taken off in a large way since we started doing them back in 2014. You can also influence the questions that we ask the speakers during this event. So when Vitalik's on stage, you can feel free to contribute questions. And I also would encourage you to interact with each other. So in the audience chat, you can form new relationships there, connect. I encourage community building here. So this is really an opportunity for you to get to know each other as well as to know the speakers as well. So let me give you a quick preview of the event so that you just kind of to whet your appetite for the next few days. For today in particular, this day is going to be incredible. We have 4 major themes happening today. The first major theme is scalability, and that will be basically layer 1 protocols and layer 2 protocols. The second theme for the event is DeFi. This would be staking, yield farming, and kind of building the next generation of financial system on Web3. The third major pillar of our agenda is zero knowledge. So zero knowledge proofs, building private applications in Web3, and also you know, basically using zero knowledge computing to solve a variety of use case problems in the world. And we'll learn more about that a little bit later today. And then finally, the future of Web3. Where's Web3 headed? And these are all going to be done with a very technical bias to them. Some of the sessions that I'd strongly recommend that you check out today. The first one obviously is Vitalik, happening in about 10 minutes. That's going to be an incredible talk. And then at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, Stani from Aave is going to be speaking. So Aave is a multi-billion-dollar protocol for performing lending, and they have a new Lens protocol they're incubating. And we're very lucky to have the co-founder of Aave with us today. Then at 11 a.m., right after that session, is going to be Hester Pierce, who's one of the commissioners at the Securities and Exchange Commission. And this is one of our few non-technical speakers, but we thought it was appropriate given all the crypto regulation that's been happening over the last few months, and especially with the FTX collapse and with the Terra crash and the government's reaction to that. We thought it would be appropriate to bring a member of the SEC on stage to discuss that with us and to discuss the future of crypto regulation. So that's going to be an amazing event. We're very lucky to have Hester with us today. Then at 1:30 p.m., we're going to have Evan Cheng, who's the founder and CEO of Mysten Labs. Mysten Labs is creating Sui. Sui is kind of a next generation blockchain built on the Move programming language, which is a new programming language that is elegant and fun to program with. And he's building Sui alongside another project in the space called Aptos, and they're both interested in getting programmers to adopt the Move programming language. So we're going to be learning all about that. And then the next session that's really interesting that I'd encourage you to check out is called Eigenlayer. So Eigenlayer is happening at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. And there's a new idea that the founders of Eigenlayer are pioneering, which is this idea of restaking, and basically to increase the security of multiple blockchain networks at once while earning yield at the same time. So it's a revolutionary concept that a lot of people are excited about right now, and he's going to be talking all about that today. And then finally, if you're interested in zero knowledge proofs, at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to have a zero knowledge panel with leaders in the zero knowledge space, such as Don Song, who's the founder of Oasis Labs, Yi Sun, who's the founder of Axiom, as well as Evan, who's the founder of the Mina protocol. And they'll all be talking about various applications for privacy as well as zero knowledge proofs. So we're very excited about that, and we think it's going to be a great learning opportunity. And throughout the day, there's going to be plenty of other amazing sessions happening. I don't have time to talk about all of them, but it's going to be a jam-packed day with a lot of incredible knowledge for folks to learn about. So this event, by the way, this is going to be the one time I will really talk about this throughout the whole event, is that this event is basically brought to you by a venture capital firm which I co-manage called Hack VC. And Hack VC, the website is hack.vc, and we are an early stage investment firm that focuses on Web3. We invest $1 million to $10 million checks into early stage blockchain startups. So we put this event on. It's kind of a loss leader for us. We don't make any money on the event. We do it to help the community, to provide the education, to help the nonprofits. And we hope that if there are developers in the audience that are starting companies at some point, that you might consider us as an investor. So again, the website is hack.vc. And I run the firm with my partner, Alex Pack, who's the co-founder of Dragonfly Capital, as well as led the crypto practice at Bain Capital Ventures. Alex is going to be with you tomorrow. He's going to be leading the session with Alex, who's the founder of Aurora. And it's going to be a great session tomorrow. So I look forward to seeing Alex's talk tomorrow with Aurora. And a little bit about me, because I'll kind of be in most of the sessions throughout the next 2 days. You should probably know a little bit about me. So I'm a programmer by background. So I have a software development background, wrote a book on the Java programming language many, many years ago. And it's on ancient technology called Enterprise Java Beans. I'm actually kind of embarrassed about that technology now. Nobody uses this technology anymore, but 20 years ago, it was kind of an important technology. And these days, I'm not a good programmer anymore. I'm kind of a crappy programmer. But I am still trying to learn and get better in the best way that I can. And so I'm more on the business side these days as an investor. But I do have a programming background. And so I've also started 3 companies. The first company I started was a Java development company, building the world's largest Java developer community. I also created a video game development company that made exercise video games for the Nintendo Wii system. And finally, I created a marketplace for developers to mentor each other called HackHands, which is an online developer mentoring marketplace. So a lot of my startups have been all developer focused, basically, and that's kind of my passion, is helping developers, building developer communities, etc. And we have a large team behind us at Hack Summit who I want to acknowledge, who is basically helping us make this event successful and produce the event. In particular, I want to acknowledge Chris, Roshan, Shu Yao, Daniel, Rodney, Tanner, Tinju, Sean, Hannah, Nicole, Ian, Julian, Jigger, and Alec. All of you have been extremely helpful and useful in making sure this event was successful. I want to acknowledge you for that. And you're going to be hearing from several of them later today and tomorrow, because some of them are going to be hosting some of the sessions at Hack Summit. The last thing I want to just mention to the audience here before we go to Vitalik is that If any of you are looking for a job in Web3 and are maybe looking for your next career, maybe you've been laid off because of the tech downturn, we want to help you. And so we actually have a website, which is called hackjobs.org, H-A-C-K jobs.org. And that website basically helps connect programmers to startups that are looking to hire programmers. It's a free service that we provide just to help programmers. We don't make any money, any recruiting fees, anything like that. We're effectively curating startups that are looking for talented programmers and helping place those programmers at those jobs. And so I encourage you to apply at hackjobs.org. This is very much an experiment that we're doing. We're hoping that it adds value and helps developers. And if it does, then we're going to put more energy and effort into this program, and we're going to expand it in the future. And by the way, just in case you want to know about the vision for Hack Jobs, very briefly, what we're doing with it is we found that a lot of developers have this challenge where they apply to lots of jobs and they'll fill out lots of resumes and fill out lots of interview questions. And we thought, well, developers are very highly sought after and they're valuable, and there aren't enough developers in the world. So why don't we have the companies chase the developers? So when the developers fill out an application on Hack Jobs, they fill out a single one application, and then a number of startups are effectively competing over hiring that developer. So it turns the tables, and the developers, instead of chasing down the startups are basically chasing the developers, which is we think is the right way to do things, basically. So hackjobs.org is the website there. I also want to thank our partners for the event. You can see all of our partners listed on hacksummit.org. And we have a number of kind of corporations and nonprofits and foundations that are helping us. In particular, I want to give a shout out to a few of our partners who have helped make Hack Summit possible. One of them is Pluralsight, which is democratizing education for developers. Another is Dystopia Labs, which is helping produce this event. I'd also like to thank InfoQ and DZone for helping to promote this event, as well as Major League Hacking. The final thing I want to mention here is that, again, this is a donation-based event. So if you are in a position to donate, please consider a contribution. Both fiat and crypto are accepted, and you can donate at hacksummit.org anytime you want to throughout this event. So before we go to Vitalik, let's just take a look at the audience polls and see where we're at for which programming languages have won these polls so far. So it looks like the #1 most popular programming language in the audience so far is actually Node and JavaScript, which is actually not too surprising because every programmer needs to know a little bit of JavaScript to get their hands dirty when you're programming, because most front-end applications use JavaScript. So it is a lowest common denominator, and that's a very normal result. And then, do you have experience programming with Web3? About 1/3 of the audience does not, and 2/3 does. 2/3 does not have programming in Web3, and 1/3 does have programming experience in Web3. So we have a mixture of veterans as well as newcomers to Web3 in the audience. And then about half of our audience is a beginner in Web3. About 40% or so is intermediate, and a very small sliver is advanced. And then lastly, have you ever performed DeFi staking or LPing? It looks like about 2/3 of our audience has never done staking or DeFi LPing, but then about 1/3 of our audience has. So very interesting results. This is actually a huge movement since we did Hack Summit a few years ago. And so I'm glad to see that things have moved along well. So with that said, we're now ready to move on to our first session, which is with Vitalik Buterin. This is going to be an incredible session. I hope everyone's excited to hear from him. So just stay put for just a minute, and I'll be